I'm going to let the panelists respond to each other if they want, or make additional comments before we open it up to the audience.
No, just to build on what Tessa was saying in terms of the opportunity to leverage media for social change. To me, that's just one of the most exciting things, and it's easy to get caught up in the concern about using media, which is a very real concern, and obviously we're trying to bring that to the forefront so that people think about it. But there's also so many exciting stories out there about activists that are using media, like the Dreamers and some of the things that Henry Jenkins works on, and like the Nerd Fighters and the Harry Potter lines. All these people are thinking of clever ways to convey their point on a social issue through media, and it's actually something that we're trying to work on through, in partnership with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Hit Record, the show that we have on the network, and developing a set of resources, working with USC as well, and developing a set of resources that young people can look at to kind of get better skills at developing media for social change. So keep on the lookout for that, but just in general, just to make sure that the message is be cautious, scrutinize the information that you're getting, be aware of potential agendas behind those messages, be aware of the trade-offs associated with living your life online. But it's also there's that power and responsibility associated with creating content yourself, and the power part is what I really want to make sure that we're aware of, and that to me is so exciting because that's what's really changing the landscape politically.
Any comments?
Just an idea that came to me that I had a friend who tried this for a while, and I would encourage you and commend it to your attention that you try it as well. What they would do is that they would, every Friday night at 5 o'clock, they would disconnect from the internet and they wouldn't get back on until Monday, and they found that they actually talked with each other a little bit more over the weekend and all that sort of thing. And, at the very least, don't check your inbox. No, I'm serious. Try sometime just to disconnect from all the devices, even for a day. Just see what it's like.
There's some neat blog posts on people, like even hardcore techies that own tech startups who have disconnected for a week or for a period of time, and they talk about their observations. And it is fascinating because it really gives you a different perspective. I've gone a day. That's about it.
How many of you participated in my 100 that you have to give up media, right? And that was so. What was the hardest thing, Ashley?
Giving it up.
But which medium was the hardest?
Anything social networking, communicating with your friends, because if you don't talk to them directly on texting, that's the only way of knowing what's going on.
You can ask them. Go find them and talk to them. This is one of the most maddening things. I mean, I hope we start having to communicate about this. You go out and you'll see 4 or 5 people of your generation all on a street corner, and I would have thought you would have been talking to each other, but you're all sitting there texting. God knows who. And maybe they take a selfie of you all there and send that over. It's nuts.
I just want to rip off what Tessa was saying. Media literacy is so critical, especially at your age. There's 4 things to look for. The movie, the video we saw says, well, how do you know if this is any good? If you can trust the source, you have to find out, and it gets harder and harder. Who sent this message? Right? Who sent this message? But sometimes you go down to the bottom of the page and you click on the stuff that's in really tiny font, and you go somewhere else and think, where the hell am I now? And then you find yourself, half a planet away, engaging with a source that you never thought could have been possibly associated with the page that had first attracted you. So who created the message? Who can you attribute this page to, this website to? Then how old is it? Remember, you said the World Wide Web's 25 years old. In the digital age, it's like 40. So it's like there's such old information floating out there next to new information, acting as if it's. We looked at the story about Elizabeth Edwards, my students, right? That we found out was completely made up and sat on the internet for 4 years. Sat there as if it were true. Until I think enough of my students put it out there and finally News Corp took it down. You know, so how old is this message? Can I verify it? Can I find another website that verifies what I see in this website? Can I go on oviatlibrary.com and find some egghead scholars that says what's in this website is actually true? And if you can't, you know, toss that. And the quality control. Now, quality control is a lot harder these days because reporters have to throw that stuff up really fast, right? You know, the Spirit Awards, the Oscars, they have to get it online, like right away. It's not like it's going to go through the presses, it's going to be proofread. So sometimes we're now seeing typos, you know, on major newspapers, but that comes, and they don't stay there anymore, they correct them. But if you see a website and it's just rife with grammar problems and misspellings, then you know, I don't think I need to trust this source, right? We have to be up on our non-online, non-text, non-digital vocabulary and spelling, because we have to have 2 sets now. We have to, you know, iHeart, you know, or whatever, LOL, and sometimes you actually need to write out the words. So we have to be a little more savvy with our own grammar and spelling, so that we could tell when something just looks totally bogus.
And also not just those websites. Is this really your friend who's sending the message, right? Is this really your bank, right? Or is it a phishing scam?
Mm-hmm.
Some of you have told me these horrific stories about your online lives, that people have co-opted your identities. They've created a whole family using your family. These are things that are happening. Tessa, do you want to add anything?
Well, on that one, I think you need, in a sense, to think about your own personal brand. You know, big companies spend millions and millions of dollars to create a brand and to really keep a positive impression of that brand. And when we're thinking about our public representation of ourselves, we really have our own individual brand. And what do we want our brand to be? How do we want people to think about us? How do we want to look at ourselves and project that to other people? And so, in a sense, when you put anything online, when you are a producer, you are producing a brand, whether you want to or not. And so I think it's probably advisable for all of us to be very conscious about what our brand is and to think about that, because you can be sure that the people on the other end of our communication is coming up with some vision of who we are. So is that the person you want to be?